This is a good time for Stoicism. Reading Seneca is like listening to a slightly grumpy uncle. He doesn't tell you what you want to hear, but rather what you need to hear. And after losing my mind for a few days, his admonitions were just the right thing to ground me again. Why, you ask? Haven't you heard?
AI.
AGI.
AI.
Of course you have. It is my hope that this video doesn't contribute to the fear-mongering that you can find all over the internet. Although I'm certainly aware that it has at least the potential to do so. But this is not my intention. Rather, I want to share my experience that I think a lot of people can relate to. So what are we talking about? We're talking about artificial intelligence, AI. And of course this whole conversation has been sparked by its newest poster child, and that is ChatGPT 4. Like the whole world, I've been playing with that tool, and my impression was that one can already get a glimpse into the future. Not in the sense that I will be able to tell exactly how it all will play out, but I think one can already feel the significance of the technological development that we call AI. So the question that I've been pondering for the last few weeks is, what is it that makes AI so special that it can give me this existential anxiety? Because if you think about it, life is already rich in things that might cause you existential fear. Take, for example, climate change or nuclear warfare. But unlike these two, artificial intelligence affects some basic categories of our understanding. And because of that, we will have to ask us some really deep questions. For example, what kind of lifelike existence do we consider valuable? What is it that makes us uniquely human? What role does consciousness play? And most importantly, how do we deal with the fact that we might not be the most powerful intelligence on this planet anymore? But maybe that's just fear speaking through me. Well, picture this situation. It's my nephew's 14th birthday. Cake, board games, harmony. Until the conversation turns to ChatGPT. And because the brooding did not let me sleep half the night, I can't help but to release all my confused worries. How AI gets out of control, keeps improving itself, and eventually wipes out humanity. Not because it hates humanity, but simply because it serves one of its goals. Forgive me, sister. You were right to silence me. A teenager shouldn't have to hear all that threatens his young life on his birthday, even if it might come true one day. Stoicism has always been a philosophy of crisis, of uncertain times, a reflection on what is in our power and what is not. Like so many who live in Western individualism, I like to think of myself as the sole architect of my fortune. And I think architect is a good symbol in this context. My life is like a house that I add different extensions to. I say things like, I'm working on myself, or I'm improving my fitness, as if I'm building myself up. And it's a nice fantasy, me, the sole ruler of the castle that I am. But the illusion of power crumbles when I realize that the earth that I wanted to build my fortune on is shaking. When people talk about death, then there's sometimes this implicit supposition in the background, and it says most of the time people don't think about their death, Or maybe they even actively suppress it. I can't confirm nor deny that. I can only say I find that really curious if it's true, because I feel different in that regard. And maybe I felt different since I was 6 years old. I can still remember that one night where I couldn't sleep and I felt a really strong vertigo at the realization that, yes, one day you will have to die. And probably since that night, the admonition of all the Stoics has been burned into my mind. Memento mori, remember your mortality. These days I do that more than ever. I sit here in front of this mirror and I try to be mindful of the present moment. How I'm sitting here, a mind that is aware of itself. That's you, I think, a spark that glows briefly, only to go out soon. And most of the time, that instills a sense of urgency in me. But sometimes it also fills me with joy, like a childish triumph in which I say, maybe, but not yet. I like the suggestion of AI researcher Max Tegmark. We're used to think of ourselves as Homo sapiens, beings of reason. But with the advent of artificial intelligence, we should think of ourselves differently. We are Homo sentiens, beings of sensation. Every day, I try to consciously savor at least one moment. The shared joy of playing together. The gentleness of the morning as the word slowly rises. The tingle of excitement right before the ice-cold water of the shower hits me. It is in this intensity that life feels the most real to me. I think of this attention to detail as an art of living, feeling every moment as if it were a work of art. Of all the AI horror scenarios, this one is the most terrifying to me. A universe devoid of any wonder, because there is no longer a consciousness that can feel it with awe. You know what gives me relief in a weird way? That mankind was always terrified of its extinction. We feared the forces of the elements, the punishment of gods, the attack of hostile tribes. That is why Seneca can speak to me as if he were my contemporary. You dispose of that which lies in the hands of fortune. You let go that which lies in your own. Whither do you look? At what goal do you aim? All things that are still to come lie in uncertainty. Seize life now. So I take her hand and we go for a walk. The uncertainty of the future versus the heavy scent of spring flowers and the warmth of our touch. Pulsating, growing life everywhere. Doesn't it know it's at a crossroads? No, sheer life is oblivious. And so am I, at least in those brief moments when the light melts into her hair in just the right hue. Seneca's right. Worry doesn't get me anywhere. It only robs me of the present. He says, everyone hurries his life on and suffers from a yearning for the future and the weariness of the present. That sounds like a criticism of the technologist who only dreams up utopias while creating a dystopia. But I have to be very careful to not close myself off to the future. There is something to be said for the longing of tomorrow. Wouldn't it be an equally dismal world if we were not allowed to dream of the future? For what brings about the better future, if not the longing for it? Worry? Hardly likely. These meditations on mortality have revealed to me an important subconscious thought pattern. I think about my lifetime as if I had a claim on it against, I don't know, fate itself. I seem to think that because I live healthy and in an industrialized nation, that I deserve at least 8 years of lifetime. But this is wrong. There is no claim to the incredible coincidence that we call life. Every moment that I'm granted at all is a gift that I did not have to receive. As a human being, I always live in the shadow of uncertainty. And to insist on something in the face of that is not only naive, but also arrogant. And I think the Stoics would agree with that.